further lower, but he'd fall. So I picked him up. I said, maybe he just needs to rest and recoup overnight. It was kind of getting late. And there was nobody to call, so I couldn't call anybody. So I did some reading online, and it said to keep them warm at night and keep them in a ventilated area, a dark place. Maybe heat up some rice in a microwave in a sock, put it in a box with tissue paper crumpled up, and then put lots of holes in it for ventilation. So I did. And then I made some new sugar water. And then I gave him a drink before bedtime. And he was kind of looking around. He was alert. His head was moving around. His eyes were, looking at you. He was kind of probably wondering what was going on. I'd put him in the box gently and he'd flutter, but then he'd, stop and just relax. So then I closed the lid and I said, hopefully he'll make it through the night. I was kind of anxious, I was praying for him. And then morning came. I was kind of nervous. I didn't know what I was going to find. So I went downstairs and I took the box. I put it in the light and then I opened the box up slowly and I looked and he was there, but his eyes were closed and he wasn't moving. And I said, oh no. I said, I'm so sad. And then I kind of gently rubbed his head to see maybe he was kind of in a hibernation because they go into a deep um, hibernation phase when it's at night. They kind of lower their body temperature. So I said, maybe he has to be, warmed up. So I gently kind of rubbed his head a little bit. And then he starts to move a little bit. And then his eyes kind of open and he's moving around a little bit. And then I kind of gently pick him up. I move him up to the light, kind of rubbing his head. I said maybe, and then he was starting to move more because of the warmth from the light. So I said maybe if I take off my gloves, my hands are warm, maybe that would help heat up his body. So took off my gloves. He was perched on my fingers, and then I put the feeder near him, and then he was feeding. I said, well, that's a good sign. And then I said maybe if I put him near the door where the light is, he could see the trees and the blue sky. He would feel a little bit more motivated or, you know, less anxious because I know he probably wanted to get back to his bird family. I didn't know, how hurt he was, if he could, get back to them. But anyway, I